Good morning. I'm Captain Dahlia Simons with the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office or Criminal Investigations Division. Today we're going to speak about the homicide investigation where the victim was identified as Brenton Estorfi. When Sheriff Eric Fagan took office, his goal was to get cases such as this one solved. The Fort Bend County Criminal Investigations Division has since made arrests in 3 different homicide cases dating from 2017 to 2020. This homicide case began on October the 16th of 2019, and at 12:05 a.m., the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office deputies received a phone call of intruders that had made entry to a residence at the 6900 block of Glen Rosa Drive in Katy, Fort Bend County, Texas. When deputies arrived there, they identified a young homeowner identified as Brenton Estorfi, 29 years of age, who was found deceased, and he was shot to death while defending his family. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Lieutenant Heinemeyer over criminal investigations.
Today's press conference was mainly about just the arrest of Mr. Jadon Carpy. In this case, since the investigation, there's been a lot of effort and many hours put into this case. We're just happy to say that we were able to collaborate with the District Attorney's Office and also the Gulf Coast Violent Offenders Task Force to effectively arrest Mr. Jadon Carpy. And I'll open it up to any questions y'all may have.
Are there any other suspects? Possibly.
We're going to pursue the case. In other words, we would like to bring any and all persons that are culpable for this offense to justice.
How did you determine he was the suspect?
Through the investigation. So we can't disclose a lot of information at this point since this case is still pending. In other words, but we do believe that there's quite a bit of evidence and information in this case that has identified Mr. Carpy as a suspect in the case.
Do you believe that he was targeting Mr. Estorfe, or that this was just completely random?
Those are information that we can't disclose at this time.
That's something obviously the community is most
Questioning.
interested in. Was this
Right.
random? Are we?
Mm-hmm.
So you can't talk about anything regarding if they knew each other or anything like that.
No.
And I remember there was surveillance video of a car that y'all were asking for information about after this first happened. Any indication that he's linked to that car, or that car played a factor that was driving the neighborhood?
Yes.
Was that his car?
Won't answer that at this time.
And he would have been, what, 17 at the time?
Yes.
Any other suspects? Anybody else?
We believe there's additional suspects, yes.
Because there was one other man believed to be with him at the time, right?
There's others.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you update us at all on Britton's family? Are they still around? Are you in contact with them? I know his widow was
Yes.
at a press conference.
I can say that we've maintained contact with both Britton's wife and also Mr. Estorf's father, who still lives in Australia. So, of course, they've been made aware of these developments, and we've kept them in touch.
Were they
Or
glad
kept
to
in
hear-
touch with them.
Were they glad to hear of an arrest?
Yes, very happy to hear so. So, Captain Simons and I both spoke to Mr. Estorf prior to, or just right after the arrest, rather. So he was very happy to hear that. And he said he'd been waiting on that day since his son's birthday. Unfortunate, and it's extremely tragic event that he was murdered on his 29th birthday in his home in front of his family.
This made huge news in Australia.
Yes.
Because it's fairly uncommon compared to here.
Yes, and I think he's a pretty well-known, rugby player there.
And this suspect, does he have any criminal history? Been arrested for any other crimes in the past?
I won't disclose the person's criminal history here, but I think some open records search could answer that question for you.
Talk to us about what you can. You know, this was years in the making. You guys didn't give up. You know, the intricacies of the manpower,
Sure.
you know, the emotions. You know, this is, you know.
Well, as you can imagine, a case of this seriousness, you know, a man murdered in front of his family. So since October 16th of 2019, I know it seems like a long time, but a lot of things have to happen in these cases and in due time. So what I can tell you is that over that time, there was a lot of evidence that's been processed, examined, a lot of interviews have been conducted. We've collaborated with the District Attorney's Office on multiple occasions, you know, transferring and discussing this information. And I can just tell you that That information led to probable cause in this case, and we're able to obtain an arrest warrant for Mr. Carpy.
I know you're not gonna get into this, but initially some neighbors thought that well, maybe it's the wrong houses. These guys came up on.
Sure, and that's been mentioned, many times, so it's not like that's not out there. However, that's part of the investigation that at this point we can't discuss.
And you mentioned that there are people that you believe are suspects that are still out there. What message do you have for them?
Well, I can tell you that we fully intend to bring any person that's culpable for the murder of Mr. Brenton Estorfi to justice.
How can the public help?
If you know something, say something. In other words, if you knew any of these co-actors or know part of the story, then say something. There's Crime Stoppers. You can contact the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office.
Was he linked to any type of gang or violent group?
We won't discuss that at the moment.
Is anything we missing, you know, as the media, is there anything that we should be asking?
But I would say that at this juncture, what I could say is we're here to talk about the arrest of Mr. Jadon Carpy, and it's pretty limited on what we can discuss because the case is pending.
Is there a bond?
Yes, $350,000.
And what is his charge?
Murder.
Okay, if there's all of the questions, then I think that will be it for today.
Do you think that the public has anything to be concerned about since there's still some suspects out there?
There's not information that would suggest that there's, in other words, a particular person or persons targeted in that neighborhood. So I would just say that I believe that there's no other reason for the people to be afraid. Meaning that, say neighbors in that neighborhood.
Okay, that's good. Okay, I think we'll be on. That concludes our press conference for today. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. There is pieces. First one, please.
We'll need somebody to be in.